From cryptic trash talk sparking an animal rights violation to a heartfelt truce between the Kazakh-Chechen brothers, let's dive deep into the rivalry between Khamzat Chimaev and Shavkat Rakhmonov. But hold up, we need a little backstory on this. How did we even get here? The Boers from Chechnya taking on the Kazakh Nomad? Now, that is a match fans have been rooting for ages. And of course, the fighters could feel the friction, both rocking their respective undefeated records. It all went real when Shavkat started throwing some unsubtle shade at Khamzat's nickname Boers. He cryptically mentioned how when someone considers himself a wolf, wolves are below us all. Ouch, that's strike one for animal rights violations. And you just knew the Chechen would come back with the heat. He responded to the former M1 welterweight champ, claiming it is an honor being a wolf rather than a jackal in real life. Oh, snap. But here is where things really started heating up. Shavkat may have been a little too obvious on how he wants to address this rivalry. The 5-0 fighter posted a rather NSFW clip on Twitter showing a man killing a wolf. Strike two. What does that have to do with Khamzat Chimaev anyway? Perhaps Shavkat just wanted to test how far he could really go before being aggressively canceled on social media. Well, fun fact, Khamzat Chimaev's nickname actually means wolf in Chechen. Put two and two together, Shavkat was being Hasbullah'd for the post. But the fans, and especially Khamzat, felt they knew what this was all about. Even though Shavkat removed the post shortly after, Chimaev clapped back, posting a story about animal abuse awareness on his Instagram, followed by a few emojis showing his stance on the subject. And oh, the back and forth doesn't just end there. Shavkat Rakhmonov has been critical of Khamzat Chimaev's fighting ability. He bets he can't say the same to his face. Chimaev commented on a post covering the Nomad statement critiquing Khamzat, where he bluntly asked, "Who's the chump?" Yeah, we're pretty sure Chimaev very well knows who exactly Kazakh is. Though in a Q&A session, Shavkat went candid, claiming that he has nothing against him. He's tired of all the talk over social media and wants to settle it all like real men in the octagon. Even though Khamzat has now bumped up to middleweight, he believes they will eventually meet one day, and that will be the day it is finally decided and who has bragging rights over each other. He isn't buying Chimaev's ignorance of not knowing who the welterweight is. In fact, he very well believes he lives inside the Chechen's head rent-free. Scrap the octagon. Shavkat is willing to go toe-to-toe with him on the street if he has to. It all boils down to Chimaev's attitude and if he's down for it. Where most wrestlers may find it pretty flattering to be compared to Chimaev for his wrestling, Shavkat has had enough of it. After giving arguably the best performance of his career after obliterating Carlston Harris and winning the Performance of the Night bonus. To top it all off, he went 15-0 on his overall MMA record, which should be worthy of the headlines for such a young fighter. Instead, all the MMA world could talk about was how he compares himself to Khamzat. Speaking to the MMA Hour, he vented his frustrations, making it clear that he is his own fighter. Chimaev falls just behind on the overall win tally with 12 wins to his name. But the comparisons don't really stem from the numbers alone. Get this, the two fighters both made their UFC debuts in 2020 and were immediately lauded for their fighting styles, which are quite similar to, just by the way, please don't kill me, Nomad. Both fighters compete like they've just taken a shot of adrenaline, not leaving their opponents room to breathe. But besides dishing out a beating, both fighters can take a hit. Even UFC legend Triple C Henry Cejudo couldn't deny the uncanny similarities between the Boers and, well, Jackal. He dissected Rakhmonov's fight against Jeff Neal at UFC 285, dubbing him the second coming of Khamzat Chimaev. It's understandable for Shavkat to get it twisted through all the comparisons, but he really can't blame all the hype. Cejudo continued in his video ticking the boxes in Shavkat's arsenal, making the case that the Kazakh must have Mexican DNA because of his hard chin. On the other hand, Khamzat, well, his slugfest against Gilbert Burns of his resilience. Though Shavkat is one of the most unorthodox figures the UFC has seen, and he believes that's enough to take Boers out. Yeah, Khamzat isn't buying it. Instagram page freak.mma posted a clip of the Kazakh making a rather bold claim that he could body the likes of Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Tyson Fury, and the man with the scarred lip, Khamzat Chimaev. Well, that very lip was smirking at the claim as Chimaev went creative with the emojis in the comments section. Honestly, it's hard to argue with someone who made a talented Kevin Holland look like a ragdoll at UFC 279. Dana might have praise for his new signature welterweight prospect, but you can see the disbelief in his eyes every time he talks about Chimaev. He's made it clear he hasn't seen anyone like him. Even popular MMA analyst and podcaster, the MMA Guru, has confidently admitted that Khamzat would easily catch Shavkat in his vice and submit him. Even though Rakhmonov may have an edge with his striking, when Chimaev decides to take him into deep waters, you bet he will be in a heap of trouble. His vicious vice against Li Jingliang made a statement that the Boers does not relent with his prey. This was after he carried the 171-pounder over to Dana White, claiming he was the king and that he is indeed coming for everybody. With that being said, he does have respect for the Kazakh. Being asked in an interview about his thoughts on Shavkat's undefeated streak, Chimaev admitted that even though he doesn't follow the fighter much, a feat like that deserves to be treated with respect. It seems so out of character to talk that way. Well, what if I told you the man dubbed Evil Habib was the one to squash the beef between the two? Wait, what? All that trash talk and animosity for a truce? Through all the friction and trash talk between the fighters, Mr. Khamzat Chimaev posted a heartfelt statement on his Instagram with a picture of the Kazakhstan flag. But to break it all down, on the advent of Ramadan, he wished him the best of health and prosperity, and that blessings may find their way in the holy month. Cue all the awes. And that's not all. He summed up the statement by promising that he would try to come to Kazakhstan soon and please his brothers there. Guess Khabib's speech really made him a changed man. A little context. Khamzat was caught in a brawl with Nurmagomedov's cousin, Abu Bakr, which Shavkat was apparently observing from the crowd, befittingly. The sport ended in Habib's camp, and Chimaev embraced in a heartfelt video where the eagle cleared the air between the two Muslim brothers. As Chimaev now moves on to middleweight, with little speculation of them settling the beef in the octagon, guess he felt it unnecessary for it to go on any further than it already has. Which is quite the bummer, actually. The high-fidelity clash has all the markings of an uber-marketable rivalry. Sugar Sean O'Malley on his podcast was even hyped for the speculation of the two fighters squaring off, and I really don't blame him. The battle of the undefeated fighters fighting to give each other their first ever loss, fueled by some colorful exchanges on Twitter. Dana, come on, pull a few strings, bro. In most UFC fights, you will be seeing either a better grappler or a striker on each end of the octagon squaring off. When it comes to Khamzat versus Rakhmonov, both fighters are equally packed with fearsome fighting prowess. You've seen the Boers comfortably out-wrestle each of his victims. But you bet, Shavkat isn't one to be ragdolled around as easily. Both fighters aren't getting any younger, which is why fans have been urging the two fighters to sign the contract. Both Chimaev and Shavkat, both aged 28 years old, stand in their physical primes. Bet you really wish Khamzat didn't miss weight and go up to 185 now, huh? Fans have been pretty vocal about how badly they want the clash to take place. One Reddit user loved the haramness of the situation during Ramadan. The MMA world was on fire, with several media outlets including BT Sports covering a possible bout. All in all, the Kazakh-Chechen clash remains a dream fight. Some are even claiming that Khamzat's truce was perhaps a way to duck Shavkat. I mean, he never really returned the heat back with the same animosity as him. Roll back his famous clip where the Swede describes each fighter and blatantly calls Shavkat a good fighter, followed by a chuckle. That being said, the two fighters have gone their separate ways, with Chimaev now eyeing a potential contenders bout with Paulo Costa, while Shavkat Rakhmonov continues to blaze up the welterweight scene working toward Belal Muhammad. Perhaps one day, when the stars align, we might see the bad blood resurface between this Kazakh-Chechen brotherhood. So, from a heartfelt truce between the Kazakh-Chechen brothers to cryptic trash talk sparking an animal rights violation, that was inside the rivalry between Khamzat Chimaev and Shavkat Rakhmonov.